I'm excellent. How are you?
Yeah, good. Sorry about the timing. I actually send this timing because I interview a lot of US guests. So this is about
Yes.
the time when I wake up to do it, and then I didn't realize that you're also in Australia as well. So we probably could have done something at 10 o'clock.
Oh no, I get up at 3.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is this is no big deal. Please don't
Oh,
apologize.
okay.
It's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm going. What is he? It's being 10 minutes late. I
Oh no,
thought you
yeah, yeah.
apologized for 6:10. I said, oh,
Oh,
fine.
yeah. Well, I was watching some of your videos, and then I was also introduced by Georgie as well, and it was really nice. So yeah, really keen to interview you and yeah, ask you a lot of good questions. So yeah.
The SBS show last night.
Yeah. Not the SBS show, but the other videos that you've got on YouTube, and I was reading some of the
Ah,
articles.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been getting so many messages, and it's a show called Filthy Rich and Homeless.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
uh, Last winter, I spent 10 days experiencing homelessness, and we had to keep it confidential for a year. So we've been working
Wow.
with the charities in the background, and it it was only the last 3 nights that it was
Mm,
actually aired. So we'd have been
mm.
having to keep it a secret, and
Oh,
so
cool.
many people are like, "Why haven't you told us you did
Well,
it?"
we should definitely
Because
talk about that then.
yeah, that was big. It was big, big.
So that was on SBS last night or something, or
Yeah, you can
yeah.
watch it on SBS on
Okay.
demand. Three episodes.
Mm,
So 5 participants: Dr. Andrew Rochford, um, emergency doctor and businessman.
yep.
Aaron Wood. He's the deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne. A comedian, Kieran Lyons,
Mm.
a gorgeous model and actress. Ellie Gonzalez, and then myself.
Oh,
So we were all
nice.
invited to participate in
Okay.
10 days
So
doing
that
this.
was like a reality TV, like similar to a reality TV show where they're filming you in,
Um,
you know?
yeah, it wasn't really reality. It was more a social experiment documentary.
Mm, interesting.
That is what it was, more so than a reality show.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, 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 mm.
So we were all like legitimately dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and we had to fend for ourselves.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
money, no food, all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
But I'm a
wow.
ninja. We can get it done.
Yeah, we can get it done, Asians, man.
And we're Vits. We're
We're Viets.
intense.
100%, we always rise up and meet the challenge, right?
And often I get interviewed, and I just see them kind of look at me like, "Is she for real?" It's like, "Yeah, man, I'm Vietnamese. I'm intense."
So would I be like the first Vietnamese podcaster that you've been on or something, or?
I don't. Yes, I've been interviewed by other Vets before, but this is
Mm.
the first Vietnamese podcast.
Oh, okay.
And congratulations to you
There you
for
go.
everything that you've done, and
Okay.
congratulations to you for. I've listened to your stuff, and I love your. Oh, look, no doubt you're a badass, but I love your calm energy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
It's a
It's
beautiful calm energy, because most
mm,
people in our space are fucking intense, right?
yeah. They just lift the energy and everything. So yeah, I'm just like very awesome. Okay, so Pauline, it's a true honor to interview you. And when I was introduced to you, I saw a lot of amazing things that you've done, and I was thinking, you know, I really have to interview you and delve into your mind and also share the wisdom that you have. So welcome to the show.
Khoa, thank you. The honor and the joy is mine. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, cool. So let's go a bit about your background and just talk about, before we get into the books and the business and everything, let's have a look at your background. So I believe that you came to Australia as a refugee or on boat. So do you want to just quickly talk about that?
Yeah, look, my my family are boat people.
Mm.
And so
Same
after
with
the
me as well.
war,
Mm.
my
Mm.
father desperately wanted to leave the country. So he built a boat with some friends, and we escaped right from the center of town. They dressed as fishermen. Rather than escaping in the dark of night, they dressed as fishermen, and 3 parents with their children. So all up, there was 12 of us.
Mm.
6 adults, 6 kids, and we spent 9 days out at sea. we were the lucky ones. We left before the pirates caught wind of the bounty that was going to be
Yeah.
at sea, right?
I heard about that too.
So,
Yeah, there was a danger as well with the other boats as well. So yeah.
yeah, you know, after when I was researching my first book, just hearing so many horror stories of families who escaped the war or the aftermath of the war, but then only to have pirates rape and pillage them at sea. It was devastating. But we were the lucky ones. We left early before the pirates found out about the masses of people that were going to leave the shores. And we ended up in a Thai refugee camp. We spent 9 days out at sea, Thai refugee camp for about a year. We were only meant to stay there for a few months. And that was where my brother Luke was born. He was born in a tent in the refugee camp,
Wow.
the famous brother.
Yeah.
And then we arrived in Australia in 1978, and it was really tough. You know, my father came to Australia with 2 young children. I was 3, my brother Lewis was 2, as well as a newborn. And my mother was ill at the time. She had tuberculosis. So he had a lot of pressure. He had a lot of pressure and a lot of stress coming to this new country with nothing, right? No house,
So
no money,
scary.
no language.
Yeah. So much uncertainty as well.
There's so much uncertainty. And he had nowhere else to dump his trauma but on us kids and my mum. So growing up was very violent, lots of emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual abuse. And, you know, it's not an uncommon story that we had to get good grades as well, right?
Typical Asians, we have to become a doctor, lawyer. I know the story as well.
It's literally beaten into us. So growing up I started working when I was 7. And my brothers, we all worked at a very young age. My father had a video library, an ice cream parlor, a cafe, a restaurant, and he had a driving school on the side as well. So all of us were slave labor. I think it's a typical entrepreneur thing, right? It's not a skills, it's a focus issue. It's like, bright shiny object.
True.
But look, we learned very, very valuable lessons at a very young age, you know, work ethic. But it was a violent upbringing, and I ran away when I could. And then life really started from there when I found the courage to leave home.
So you learned a lot about the work ethic from your dad. Like, he was working all these different types of businesses, and that's where you had a glimpse of the importance of work ethic, right? And would you say that's how you translated into your success today? That's the lessons that you learned today, to work really hard and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning like you did this morning? And
oh, my body is better when I wake up at 3. Shit don't get done while you're sleeping. Come on. I used to get up at 4:30, and then I just experimented a little bit. What if I got up an hour earlier? Look, I go to bed quite early. I go to bed at like 9 o'clock. And my body likes it better.
So that's your daily routine, right?
I have a very firm daily routine, but that's what I do. And I get up. I'm getting up at 3. I have been get up at 3 in the last 6 months or so, because I've got a lot of things. I've got a lot of things on the boil at the moment. But what my parents really taught me, Khoa, was mastery. Everything was mastery. How can we get this cappuccino froth right? You know, it was in the 80s, so the cappuccino froth was like 10 centimeters high. How if we're going to make ice cream, how can we get this ice cream perfect? And it was fresh fruit ice cream, so the fruit had to be great, and the base had to be great, and you know, even to the point where they would master the waffle cones. You know, the batter and the waffle cones, and cooking pho. How can we continually improve the pho? It was all about mastery. And just when they think they get it right, it's like, but maybe it can be better. You know, so they imparted those skills, that work ethic, that sense of mastery, and that sense of constant, that I really believe that's where I got my growth mindset from. You know, we're always growing and always learning. That's
Mm,
some very, very valuable lessons.
that's really
But you
good.
said an important word before, which was, is that how I translated it? We all have a choice to translate it. We all
Mm,
have a choice. And so I don't do victim very well, right? We, how many times do you hear it? That was my upbringing and that's why I am the way I am, right? But we
mm.
all have a choice. And over the years, I've chosen to be the beneficiary of all the things that have happened to me and for me and through me,
Mm,
rather than being the victim. And how I've reframed it now, which has been so empowering, is that was my training. That was my training.
mm. That's really inspiring. A lot of people, when they, when you grow up, you just said it, you become the victim, you blame everything on yourself, but it's really hard to take responsibility, to be accountable, and to make things happen. What was that shift for you that transitioned over to that's it, no more? What was it?
Um, Look, I've partied. I've done the drugs. I've
Mm,
been very naughty. I traveled extensively for many, many years.
mm,
Lived in Europe for many years, and so
mm.
the real shift for me, Khoa, was when I was about 32 and went, okay, I'm ready to have a child now. I always knew that I would have a boy and a girl ever since I was 15, and I had
Okay.
their names already chosen. It was like,
Yeah,
I want to have a child now. And
yeah.
as soon as it became not about me, as soon as it became about someone else, stop partying, stop drugs, stop drinking, stop cigarettes. Immediately, it was immediate. And that's a lot of the pattern that I have now, when it no longer becomes about me and about someone else. When I'm speaking on stage, people say, are you nervous? Not really, because one, I know my shit, I know my
Mm,
craft, but
mm,
then also it's not about me. It's what service I am. So once we shift that, there's nothing here to judge.
I love that. I love that. And your title is the spiritual entrepreneur. That's really cool, by the way. And you've got a book called The Way of the Spiritual Entrepreneur. So could you let us know what's the essence of that book as well?
Well, coaching so many entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs, are my niche.
Mm,
And because they've walked through the discomfort of the fire. We literally have our balls on the line every day, so to speak.
mm, mm.
And uh, time and time again, listening to the same patterns. Pauline, I'm told I'm meant to be happy. Why aren't I happy? And the happiness industry has a lot to answer for, right? It's like the sleep industry. You don't need to sleep that much. And so understanding then, guys, you're not meant to be happy 24/7.
Mm.
You're meant to
It's
experience the full.
impossible. It's
It's
like,
and they're like, why aren't I happy?
yeah.
And so you're not meant to. It's to understand that you're meant to experience the full gamut of emotions, so that
Mm,
you can learn from them. But however long you stay into that emotion, however you are addicted to that emotion, is what defines you, right? And so it's consistently learning the skills to get out of that emotion before you're hijacked, before you lose your intelligence to it, before you
mm,
become dumb because you're hijacked by stress or fear or overwhelm or anxiety. And so spirituality is very much about self-mastery. It's got
mm,
nothing to do with religion. Religion is what needs spirituality. Spirituality doesn't need religion. And so it's about self-mastery. Spirituality is physics that has yet to be explained. And so it's okay, well, here's the science and here's
mhm,
the spirituality. How can we bridge it now so that you can have new ways of seeing things, new ways of thinking about things, new ways of doing things? And so for many people who now call themselves spiritual entrepreneurs, were
mm.
once the old way entrepreneurs. The old ways were when everything was a pissing contest.
Yeah.
when everything
True.
was
Very
like,
true.
I came to work, the first one to come to work, and I was the
Yeah.
last one to leave, and I
So
had no
true.
sleep. And so, that's not inspiring. I'm not going to look up to you,
Yeah. Yeah.
our,
It's all about
our,
beating the other
our,
person, but when it's really you're just in competition with yourself. It's not you, there is no competition. It's just how can you
yeah,
get better, right? So, yeah.
yeah, but with joy.
Mm,
With
mm,
cheekiness, with playfulness, with vitality, with health.
mm,
There's so many different ways of seeing things and so many ways of doing things. And so,
mm,
so many of my clients came to me with dis-ease and disease. and we are able to fix that very quickly. And so the way of the spiritual entrepreneur is understanding that it's not the pursuit of happiness, but finding happiness in the pursuit. You know, our job in this earth
I
is
like
to
that.
one,
That's nice.
evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is to evolve, but to do it with joy. To do it with joy.
Yeah. I saw there was a video of you doing a spiritual entrepreneur retreat, I believe. I think you were taking people
Yeah.
around Palm Beach, and it looked really nice. You know, people were meditating, and they were sharing their values and everything. So do you
Yeah.
offer
Look,
that to, yeah?
That's very much my daily routine, to meet the
Mm,
sunrise,
mm,
and jump in the ocean, and to access nature's medicine.
mm,
That's a lot of my work as well, and we get results very, very quickly when we are able to access nature's medicine.
mm. How often do you meditate? Do you meditate every day, and what's your routine there, by the way? Yeah.
I meditate throughout the day.
Throughout the day.
uh,
Wow. Like 10 minutes
Throughout
here
the
and there.
day.
Okay.
Meditation for myself, I don't, the meditation that I teach is not to bliss and zen. I'm in bliss right now, speaking with you.
Mm, mm,
Um, our meditations is a form of manifestation, a form of creation. Everything starts inside, right? We all know this. How
mm,
then can we get into the void of no space, no time, nowhere, no one, and then we can start creating? So I'm
mm.
creating throughout the day.
Beautiful.
But in that deep sense, the deep meditation is when I wake up, and then in the middle of the day, and then I get into theta when I'm talking to my subconscious.
Oh,
We're
that's
creating,
amazing.
right?
And how about, and you're probably doing it for a long time, right? Doing the meditation for quite some time, for many years. And yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I have ways of hacking it. And so on my website are 3 meditations that I have created with a whole lot of NLP, some
Mm-hmm.
really badass binaural beats. We've designed the music, especially it's shamanic voice activation
Love
throughout,
it.
and it's all around the world. And people are like,
Yeah.
oh my God, meditated before, and you've just jujued me, and I have you in my ears every day, and I have you in my ears every night, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting because it works. So
Mm,
to answer
mm,
your question, Khoa,
mm.
you don't need to have meditated 15 years. Just get these meditations and you get it
Oh,
fast. You get it
love it.
trans fast.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so what about the just one more question about the meditation is, after when you've done so much of it as well, what's the thing that you've learned from meditation? The thing that is really given, or what's that wisdom that you've got from meditation? I'm curious that you've learned from it.
That I am the master of my thoughts. I am the
Mm,
creator of my destiny. And what is meditation? To become really familiar with who do we have a more intimate relationship with than ourselves, our inner net, our internal ecology. It's understanding yourself so deeply that we can start to create our destiny, and we start accessing so much more than what we can see in this 3D space, right? There are multiple dimensions that we can tap into.
mm,
And when we can get into trance really, really fast through breath work, through essential oils, through the meditations, when we get into trance, we're more suggestible to information.
mm,
You
mm,
know, and so many of my perceived problems, so many solutions have come up when I'm in that space of creation.
love it, love it.
It's
Okay,
also a very powerful space of healing, healing.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I tend to I try and meditate about 10 to 15 minutes per day. And
Mm,
yeah, and I've been doing it for about a few years so far. And
yes.
the thing that I've learned from meditation is that, well, the wisdom that I'm getting is that we're all like the observer. You know, when you rise above and you just watch your thoughts from afar, it's
Yeah.
everything is, you're just an observer, and you get so much wisdom when you're just up, when you're on that high altitude, just watching down on yourself. So yeah, that's the thing that I've seen. Like, you know, my thoughts, I'm not my thoughts. A thought's just a thought, just goes away. And
Yeah.
you don't have to pay too much attention to it or anything. It's just a thought. You don't have to chase it down the street or anything. Just let it go. So yeah, that's the thing that I've learned from meditation is just, you know, yeah, just become the observer. And there's a lot of wisdom that you can get by just rising above and just watching things. So yeah.
An observer from a higher level of mind.
High
Wonderful.
level of mind. There you go. So you also seem, you're very calm, very spiritual, but and you know a lot about energy. So I'm curious about how do you manage your energy levels as
I'm
you? I'm
calm.
crazy. But you do make an effort, right? You're making an effort to protect your energy. Do you practice that, protecting your positive energy? And you probably get a lot of negative energy sometimes it comes in. How do you protect yourself?
Well, to say that I need
Or
to
do
protect
yeah. Mm,
myself is to say that we need protection already implies that there's something to protect ourselves against.
I love
First
that.
law of the universe, the law of intention.
Mm,
And so I was coaching another client the other day who said, how do I protect myself when I'm with negative energies? I
mm,
said, first of all, don't be around the negative energy, or be so powerful that your energy influences theirs, right? We always play in the light. And I said to her, well, you can, when we are doing the deep spiritual work, perhaps a piece of rough tourmaline crystal, because they all have a different vibration.
mm,
But for example, the words we speak, rather than saying programming the crystal to protect you, it's assuming that you're amongst energies that you need protection from.
mm,
Rather than saying that, perhaps just use the words, the shamanic words of, please send back anything that does not belong to me from my field. So
mm,
just a different words. And so when I can feel that there is someone who wants more than just a conversation with me, then they want to take my energy. We have a process where we can put our reflectors up, right? It's
mm,
just, we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant.
mm,
And, but one of the very powerful laws that, so that your audience doesn't get freaked out,
mm.
is because people are always afraid of what they don't understand. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Mm,
That's okay. You know, we're not here to push anything down anyone's throat.
mm.
It's simply to say, just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
because you don't believe it yet, it doesn't mean it's not real.
Mm,
But the higher we vibrate, the more thoughts we have that creates more joy. The
mm,
elevated emotions, joy, love, playfulness, surprise, cheekiness, sexiness, all of that, the
mm,
more we vibrate, the higher our frequency. The low frequencies can't touch us.
mm,
That is a law, right? And so where do you play? Who do you play with? Do you play with the complainers, the whingers,
mm,
the
mm.
mean-spiritedness people, the ones who stand around in circle and trauma bond?
Yeah.
If that's where you play, that's the vibration that you play at,
Mm,
and you
mm,
will be more susceptible and accessible to the lower frequencies and that of the dark. So we
mm.
get to choose. We get to choose what we want to play, and they can't touch us. So that's a
Yeah.
really simple, basic rule, right?
I love that. Absolutely incredible. So it's about projecting. Well, it's about setting up like a shield, right, where it deflects the negative energy, and you send it back to the sender, send back to sender, right? So
Yeah.
you seem like an
Well, you,
empath. I think you're an empath, right? You can sense
I
people.
do.
Mm.
I do not do empathy.
Oh wow.
I don't do empathy. I do a whole lot of compassion. A
Mm.
whole lot of compassion. As a coach, we can't do empathy. As a coach, we have to do compassion. Two very
Okay.
different things.
Interesting.
But back to the shield that you were talking about, we can
Mm.
do that intentionally when we need to, but we
Mm.
don't want to. We don't want to stay in that space for too long.
Mm.
What we do is just be our
Just
natural
be.
state of being. Our
Mm.
natural state of being is also reflecting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so you also mentioned there was a really interesting analogy that you had was you're talking about the three roles in business: the artist, the manager, and the entrepreneur. And I thought that was really fascinating. So would you mind elaborating a bit about that?
Yes, one of my teachers taught me this right at the very beginning.
Mm.
And so for most business people and entrepreneurs, they start off as the artist, right?
Mm.
The artist, whether you're the cook, the seamstress, the accountant, that you're very good at whatever art it is. And then it's like, let's go into business. And then when they start the business, they have to wear all these different hats.
Mm.
The manager hat, the accounting hat, it's like, my God, I'm not in my genius. And so if we understand that in order to build any business and have it grow without the suffering, yeah, sure, look, we're entrepreneurs, that shit's going to happen all the time.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
without the burnout, without the, oh my God, what am I doing? The energy suck, understanding that in every business, there are the three main roles. There's the artist, the manager, and the entrepreneur. Okay. So in the Red Lantern business, Mark is definitely the artist. Mark is the executive chef. Luke is the artist, and he's also the manager, right? We can all do all those things. It's just not our genius. I am not a cook. I don't like to cook. I'm a professional eater.
Okay, yeah.
But I can manage I just don't enjoy it. But I'm the entrepreneur, the one who sees the big vision, the one who's not so connected to the artist side. And so as a business, Mark being the artist, Luke's off doing his artistry around the world, and I'm the entrepreneur. So we employ some really amazing managers to manage the day-to-day for us. And so obviously there's so many other roles, but if we have those three main roles, so I don't have to do the managing because I don't enjoy it. Mark doesn't have to do the managing. He just does the artistry, and I do the entrepreneurial part, going out, making contacts, being the networker, having the vision, and then delegating to do all the stuff. And our managers do stuff that I'm not good at all. And so if your listeners are finding it difficult, ask yourself, do you have a manager who is the artist and who is the entrepreneur?
That's really good. I think you also mentioned about finding your strengths as well, right? You're utilizing your strengths. You're not really trying to improve your weaknesses. It's just about finding what your strengths are and just using it, as you just mentioned, that you're the entrepreneur. You're the person that gets things done and just goes out there, networks, and brings people in. So that's really good.
Yeah, but also life is more fun.
Yeah.
Life is more fun when you do the shit that you're really good at. Come on, look, I'm absolutely I'm not blind to my weaknesses, but I've done so much work. If we're talking about human design, BG5, Gallup, Enneagram, to get really good at doing ourselves and who we are, and understanding who we take ourselves to be and why we do the things we do. And I'm absolutely aware of my weaknesses. I think we all need to be cognizant of what we can't do so that we can bring people in. Rather than going, I hate accounting, but I got to be really good at it because my accountant said I got to be really good at it.
Well, my parents told me I have to be a really good accountant.
That's right. And so, but understanding, because man, we owe it to life to sit in our genius. We owe it to life. Why would I sit in somewhere and try to do something and pay homage to mediocrity? I can get someone to freaking say it. It just doesn't make sense, So absolutely be aware of our weaknesses, but do the stuff that we're really good at. And I'm not just saying this from an intuitive point of view. Actually do the science behind what you're really good at as well. Do the reports, do the tests, ask yourself, what makes my heart sing? What makes my heart sing? Because that is your calling.
I love that. Beautiful. And you're a very fun person as well. So what would you say, what was one of the happiest moments of your life?
And I have so many happy moments, of course, in my adult life, because I design it that way. And the happiest moments always involve traveling, friends, and nature. And so to answer your question, what comes at the top of mind now is quad biking to race in time to see the sunset in Oya,
beautiful.
Santorini, Greece, or riding around the lavender fields of Hvar on the Dalmatian coast. You know, that sort of stuff makes my heart sing.
You should have filmed that. You should have put that on YouTube and, you know, vlog that one. That would have been amazing. Seeing the sunset.
Yeah, so many beautiful moments that are in here.
Beautiful. Okay. All right then. And what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who's, you know, starting out business or struggling in the business? What advice would you give them?
The ones who are struggling? Man, I would say to them, hang out with collaborators, friends, confidants that are not afraid to say the good stuff behind your back and the bad stuff to your face. Because we become our environment becomes us, we become our associations become us. We got to choose the people in our orbit wisely, right? And so if they are suffering, call out, reach out to those in your circles, but be sure you've chosen them wisely, because if you're suffering, if you're in trouble, the quality people in your orbit will always be there to assist you. Who do I need in my orbit to get me to where I want to go faster? Don't do it alone.
Love that. Sounds like you've been hurt in the past as well. So you've been through the the trials and tribulations of people, and yeah, just like myself as well. It's all about finding the right ones in your circle that you can fall back on.
That's when,
so,
but that's when we live. Well, that's in the old days when I used to live my life by default. Now my life is so designed. The people I have around me are solid. You know, friends that are so true and so loyal and so much fun that there is no paranoia, no doubt. There's no doubt, you know, we shouldn't be doing that, you know, and so I'm not saying that it's difficult to come into the circle. It's just that we're all very discerning because we all live our lives by design.
Love that. Love it. Okay. So one more question is, let's say that you were to, you know, go into a time machine, press a button and go back maybe 10, 15 years. What would you say to your younger self?
Baby girl, don't cry so much. Everything's going to be fucking magical.
Oh, love that.
Have more joy. Choose thoughts that create more joy. Have more fun. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be magical, in fact.
Beautiful. Sing and keep dancing, right? So, oh, okay. Absolutely love that. All right. So, how can people get in contact with you as well?
Through my website. If you want direct contact, I have an online course coming up. June 24 is when it starts. It's called the Spiritual Entrepreneur Accelerator Program. Okay. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
It's a three-month online course, and the caliber of badass entrepreneurs who are already enrolled is breathtaking.
Awesome.
So through my website, get in contact with me.
Through your website? Okay, fantastic. And you're on social media, YouTube and everything, and
yep. Yes.
Get you there.
Instagram, Pauline Nguyen Speaks, and Facebook. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not prolific on social media.
Okay. Yep. But you should, right? I think you should push more content out there. I think your message needs to be shared with more people. So I think you should do more videos, you know, so, if you can. But anyway.
I get told that a lot. I will if I get reminded enough.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Just before that, we were talking a bit about SBS, right? They can catch you on SBS. I think you've got a show on at the moment, right?
It's not my show. Last winter, I was invited to participate in a show called Filthy Rich and Homeless, 5 participants. And for 10 days, we experienced what it is like to be homeless.
Mm-hmm.
There's 116,000 homeless people. A very small percentage are rough sleepers. You know, some are in crisis accommodation, some live in cars. So it was a really great opportunity for me to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to keep it a secret for a year. And so you'll understand this, Khoa, as an entrepreneur, why would I put myself through that if there was something that I couldn't do afterwards? So it was very much about show me something that works so that I can get my network and I can get my friends and my inner circles to push forward a system that already works. And I was fortunate enough to witness that. And it was an establishment called Dignity, based on the premise, and which I absolutely love, that you teach a person how to fish and they can eat all day. Don't give them a fish, you know, teach them how to fish. So it was very much about giving people a hand up rather than a hand out. But before we do any of that, when they've come off the street or they've come from an abusive environment at home, to give them a sense of dignity, to give them warm food, a locked door, clean sheets, clean pajamas. And once they get that sense of dignity back, they have their wits about them again, then they can start rebuilding. Then their courage will come back, and then they can start thinking clearly again, rather than being hijacked by fear and by stress. And Dignity last year won the Telstra Business Award, as well as for social entrepreneurship. So they've got systems at work. And so now that the show's out and I'm able to speak about it, that's the big push. That's the big project I'm going to be working on now. Awesome. To push forward humanity even more.
Can't wait to see it. And yeah, look, you know, really appreciate your time today. And yeah, you know, you're sharing amazing wisdom with the world. And, you know, I wish you all the best for your future endeavors, Pauline. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, you know, keep lighting up the darkness, and you know, wish you all the best for your future endeavors as well. So cool.
And I wish you all the very best. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your listeners. Namaste.
No worries. Thank you.